I guess the fact that we're in Central Europe means these hotbeds of athletics, they can bring their fans because it's not that long a journey.
No, even the UK, it's great that in Eugene we barely had anybody being able to get across just because it's the other side of the world, whereas here there's so many British flags in the crowd, which is great.
Heat 2 out of 4 in the men's 1500 metres.
Okay, Heat 2 of 4. Hisham.
Hit number 1, Hisham Ankam of Morocco.
Ankam on the inside, African bronze medalist last year over the 5,000. Mario Garcia. What a runner this guy is. 4th in the Europeans, 4th last year, bronze in the Europeans, 7th on the European all-time list. Big PB in Oslo when he was 5th. Luke McCann, national indoor champion. Timothy Cheruiyot then, the distinctive forward-leaning Kenyan, 6th last year. Gold, remember, though, in Doha, and an Olympic silver medalist. Can he rediscover the kind of low 328s that took him to global heights? Jonas Rina, 8 times a national champion outdoors, 9 times indoors. Joe Wascombe, NCAA champion last year, making his international debut. Toshipo Toshite, 4 times a national champion, 3 of those at 800. Samuel Tanner, the Oceanian champions, had a great season. PB in Silesia. Napolitano of Puerto Rico. Verheyden, European under-23 champion a couple of years ago. Runch, PB in Tomblaine, 333 for him. Neil Gourley, European indoor silver. Won the trials, 3rd in the London Diamond League with 330.6. Just outside him, the Italian, Rossotti Neves, 5 times a national champion. And Tadesse Lemmy, mixed relay gold at the World Cross in Aarhus in Denmark in 2019. What a brilliant edition of the World Cross that was, and ran a 3:32 in Oslo and a 3:34 in Lausanne. Second heat, men's 15, top 6 will come back for the semis.
First heat went out very quickly indeed. And that overhead shot.
Samuel Tanner with the ponytail. Not the biggest figure, but he's had a decent season. Coming across there. Oh, and there's almost a little fall there again. Hands in the back. I think it was Verheyden who was getting tripped by the athletes in front of him, and Neil Gourley, Jake, quite sensibly deciding to go to the front, although that is so slow, I think even I can almost keep up with that at the moment, and that's saying something.
Yeah, I think you have the 2 extremes there of Neil hitting the front and Cheruiyot just staying at the back, just both obviously avoiding any sort of collisions, but that's the danger when you're moving around at that pace, is it just takes one person to stumble and it could be 3 or 4 going down with it.
Cheruiyot just around 2nd from the left there, along with Mario Garcia. Brilliant Spaniard. What a great team the Spanish have brought here. And Mohamed Katir has been running brilliant times over the 15 and the 5,000 metres, but this is, I'm not even sure this counts as a warm-up jog for these guys.
No, the best thing about this for them is that unless there's a really savage last 800, they'll feel a little bit fresher going into the semis tomorrow, but there's going to be some that miss out sadly at this sort of pace, so they're all back in their kicks in this one at the moment.
And certainly playing into the hands of those who can finish fast. Garcia just moving up on the outside. Verheyden got another little shove to the shoulder there. And in fact, probably for that reason, the Belgian has come up onto the shoulder of Garcia with Luke McCann. PB from June. Had a good indoor season. He's just coming up onto Verheyden's shoulder as Timothy Cheruiyot hits the front. I'm interested to get your views on Cheruiyot, Jake, because for a few years he was the dominant force. Won the Worlds in Doha, basically just said, right, I'm going to run 3:28 plus change, come and play if you can, and nobody could. But how close do you think he is to getting back to that level? Because there just seems to be a little bit missing from him at the moment.
He's still not looked completely back to that this year. I think last year was definitely not quite the Tim Cheruiyot we used to seeing. I think Jakob beating him in that Olympic final was a big turning point and almost change of the guard, where he's doing what Timothy was doing before.
Well, he's leading at the moment. Massive amount of noise from the crowd as they come round that second bend. Cheruiyot has a little look up at the big screen. This is a brand new state-of-the-art facility, and the athletes get a clear view of themselves and 2 screens at both ends of the stadium. It's a magnificent setup here. It really is. Cheruiyot leads as they take the bell in this second cagey heat of the men's 15. No non-automatic qualifiers, just the first 6 speed merchants to put their place in the semis.
I'm watching Neil Gourley 3 from the back. He's got to get moving a little bit out of that position, as he's one of the ones we'd expect to get through quite comfortably from this. There's a lot of moves about to be made down this back straight now.
Anybody could get in this shake-up. Cheruiyot's done the sensible thing, the former champion. Verheiden's having a little look over his shoulder. Tanner's boxed on the inside. Luke McCann's coming wide on the outside. Tadesse Lemmy is grimacing and struggling to get in the mix, and I think the Frenchman Ronks took a terrible knock there, so his aspirations of making it are over. This is going to be a blanket finish. Cheruiyot just about hanging on the inside, although Tanner's come through on his inside. Garcia's going to make it. So too Tashite on the outside. The flying Finn Rene was finishing fast, and I think Cheruiyot, if he got through there, was lucky.
Yeah,
there was all sorts going on there. It was ridiculous.
Having said about Cheruiyot that we thought he was getting back to his best, he didn't quite look himself there in that home straight. He didn't do enough work, I don't think, in that last lap, just to stretch it out enough to stop them all from closing quick in that last 100. But without the small qualifiers, that's what I assumed each heat was going to be like, when there's no time in consideration. But yeah, very nerve-wracking for those all in that home straight.
Good running there from Tanner. Somehow he found a gap on the inside. Cheruiyot has gone through as the 6th. So have a look at Tanner here. And also Garcia is totally blocked by Verheiden and Cheruiyot. And somehow there's the little move to the right, finds the gap between Verheiden and McCann and comes through, giving it the big finger wag. I'm safely through. Tashite finished really quickly. I think Rena thought he made that last spot, but he just failed to outdid Timothy Cheruiyot. That was mayhem. Yeah,
there'll be some disappointed athletes there that probably thought they had it sewed up with 50 minutes to go, but that's what this heat's it can be like. It can be fractions of seconds separating everybody, and yeah, probably again the big names that should have got through, I'd say, just about played it right there to be able to see themselves through to the semi-finals tomorrow night.
2 excellent pieces of tactics for young men and women 1500-meter runners watching. You can find a gap through on the inside, Tanner, and you can find a gap when you're blocked with 50 to go if you hold your composure, as Garcia did there. Mario Garcia with a little finger wag. He takes it. Tashite came through late. Gourley got himself out of a dodgy-looking situation with 300 to go. Tanner is safe.